Well, hello and welcome. Do you hear the birds in the background? Do you hear the trees as they're being blown by the wind? I occasionally hear a bee buzzing behind my ear. On this beautiful map called Rustic Roots. So before I begin this video, y'all, this morning I got a phone call. And this phone call changed everything. Another family member is dying. Gone too soon. So young. I planned on making a coffee with Brooke today anyways. I just didn't know that this was gonna happen. I didn't know. I have no words to say. I really don't. What's that? Sounds like something running behind me. But I his wife, grieving at this time when he's passing away. I could only imagine the pain she's feeling. The husband she's been with for a long, long time. That being said, we're going to have a look around at the map. I just needed a moment of peace. And just absolutely in thought. So, this map is called Rustic Roots. It looks like you start here with a few equipment. You get a combine. You get Great Plains planter. You get a wagon, a plow, a John Deere. I think that's a Challenger. And then you get oh geez, what are they? My mind is a cultivator. My mind is somewhere else. So today, for the subject of our Coffee with Brooke Day, we're just gonna go down memory lane, and I'm going to remember a few things back in my childhood that are no longer around, no longer there, and gone. And that is a hard thing to do. That's the hardest thing, to go back in your memories and remember things that are no longer there. That is just absolutely hardest thing. So first we're going to look at the map. So you own one field, which is 39, and it's 17 acres, and it's worth $52,000. Now this would be a great map if you were going to do like a starting from nothing challenge. What is this one up here? That's another farmland. I don't know. It only looks like there's a few of them. That must be grass, but it comes with a lot of crops. You get If you have you get a lot of the other stuff. I think you get onions if you put in the Highland. But you get poppy, lavender, mustard, millet, and rye. And then you get like the oilseed radish and peas and stuff like that. So let's see what they have for production chains. They have manure, which this is the biogas plant. They have the dairy and the sawmill. And you own nothing. So do we even have a truck here? We do not. But let's go look at the field over here, and then we will start our journey back in time. And you have a field of wheat. I so far have not seen any of the pigs, the wild boars that are supposed to be in the map and update. I have not yet to see them. That is something I haven't been able to see yet. I'm kind of interested in seeing that, y'all. So we are going to, I think we're gonna hop in a tractor today, y'all. We're gonna hop in this one. Let's have a look inside before we begin this tour. This is quite nice. I don't even know where to go. Okay, I like it. Look at this. This is nice. I think that's the way out. So, the year was sometime in the 90s. I don't know the exact date, but I remember it like it was yesterday. I was jumping on the trampoline in the back of Grandma's house. She had these. It was like a special guard around it so that we wouldn't fall. The grandkids wouldn't fall out of the trampoline guard, so that like we couldn't injure ourselves. But like seriously, this thing would like fall down all the time, and most of the time we were jumping on top of it, laughing because it was the funniest thing. To be honest with you, it didn't really say it. I don't think it did anything. It was just a waste of money. Let's have a look at these trees out here. Need to. Wow. Look at this. Like, there's like trees in the middle of there. It's like so scenic. Look at that. And I think this is kind of where you can kind of, I think this map kind of makes it so like no man's land, where you can kind of create a farm of your own, and that makes it kind of cool because I like that kind of aspect in a map. I'm not very creative, so that's not for me. But a lot of people are very creative and can actually kind of make a cool map out of nothing. So going back to that time, I was jumping on the trampoline and my aunt was yelling out the door, telling, "Come on, come in for lunch." And you know what? Our favorite lunch was always if we stayed at Grandma's house, because my grandma owned a home business. So she had a work area. She did sewing for a living. So she did a lot of, she would sew things. So she had her own business. And so a lot of times we went over there because my mom worked for her, and that was part of my mom's job. Extra income back in the day, because my dad at the time didn't have a really good job. He lost his job. So that was a way that my mom could make a little extra income if we needed like money. So she was calling us inside. We were running inside, and I remember she was taking these bagels. Oh my gosh, I can remember. This was like our favorite lunch. Bagels with cheddar cheese on top. Sometimes it was mozzarella, and sometimes it was cheddar cheese, and sometimes it was American cheese. But most of the time, it was a block cheese that she actually put on top. Oh my goodness, that was my favorite thing for lunch. And then after lunch, I would run down the stairs, run out the door, and go right into Grandma's workroom. Grandma had this old computer. It was It was actually back in the day. That was like back in the day, computers were really big and expensive, but grandma had this computer because she had to have one for work, and she also would let us grandkids play different games on it. And I remember the first time you used it when the AOL would do the dial-up thing, and then I'd get on there and I'd play this like weird little worm game, and then apparently, if I'm remembering back, is you would play this worm game with other people, and I really don't even know what game this was, but you'd whoever got the biggest worm, you'd win the game. And oh man, I love that. We could only play for about 15 to 20 minutes at a time. That way everybody could get a chance in playing, but I remember that day like it was yesterday. Going back to now, 2026, that computer is no longer there. My grandma's work area is no longer there. That trampoline I used to jump on is no longer there. And my aunt yelling out the door, telling lunch was coming, is no longer there. And my grandma's no longer around. She passed away. That's the hardest part about remembering memories, is when it's not there anymore. It was really hard when she sold her house. I did think she should have done it because, that could have been a way for all of us grandkids and stuff just to go and, hang out and just have a place for, when family came to visit or whatnot, but she sold it. So, and I don't know what it looks like now because I don't really ever really go over to that area anymore because I live far away, and so it's a distant memory. So let's go this way. Gas station. I can't see what it says. What does a gas station say? That casket? Gasket. Maybe that's gasket. Looks like a casket. I think it's gasket. Kind of unique name. So that was in the 90s, and wow, I can't believe the 90s. And I can also remember a couple of years after that happened. I would play less of grandma's computer because I was older, and so I actually would bring my such a beautiful, look at this little wetland, it's really pretty. I would bring my Game Boy, and I'd sit while my mom still worked for grandma for many, 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 many years. I think, probably, between, I think it was up until 2014 or something like that, my mom worked for grandma. So grandma, also, after grandma, I don't know, grandma moved in, was it 2016, something like that. I think she moved out of the house, but it's gone. It's not there. But I would play my Game Boy and sit there and just enjoy it, and thinking, yeah, what? Yaglo tractor. I don't know, sorry y'all, that name I can't pronounce. But I'm just gonna get out for 1 minute and just kind of walk over here, kind of hear the birds. But I used to play with my Game Boy. The Game Boy was another thing in the past. The Game Boy is so old right now. Looking at it, it's like a collector item now. But back in the day, sorry for my pronouncing today. It was the hottest item, and I loved it so much. It was my favorite thing. I had just a whole bunch of games I'd play. You'd actually stick the game and you couldn't download a game from Steam. That was the best time I've ever had, was just sitting there at grandma's house hearing my mom, my aunt, a friend of my aunt and grandma working, like sewing, and just hearing them chat while I can play a game. Very peaceful compared to nowadays. It's all gone. That was one of my childhood memories I remember, and it just, she also had one of those, she had this old tree, and I think it was an oak. It was this old big oak tree. And they had an oak, and then they had a willow in the back. And the willow used to have a tire swing. Oh my gosh. I spent so many times in that tire swing. I can't tell you. I'd fly. I was at grandma's a lot during my younger years. I was there probably three or 3 days during the summer, almost every week. So I remember it like if it was yesterday. And then one year, the electrical company just said that they were going to chop down the willow tree. And like, I don't understand the part where they're like, we have to cut it down. It wasn't even in the lines. It was like multiple feet away from the lines. It wasn't even close to, I got pictures of that willow tree, and it wasn't even close to the power lines, but they told grandma that they're going to chop it down. And so as the days went on, I dreaded that. I didn't want to go to grandma's because I didn't want them to cut the tree down, because I love that tree. And then one day we went over to grandma's house and it was gone. They had taken the tire and like threw it over into the cornfield next to grandma's house. I didn't even care that was some kids play. Didn't care. So then they moved that back to the other tree in the back, but it just wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. Just wasn't the same. Let's have a look over here. Animal dealer. Poor cows. And a random, oh, there's more than one guy. And then there's a slurry pit of slurry. Okay, I think there's that sell all, buy all station over there. Okay, let's go on. Do we go? I don't know which way we go. I think we would go this way. So as the years went by, as the years went by, let's fast forward to I think it was 2020. It was not 2020. It was 20. I think it was 2010 when I started just really loved farming. I would read, I think I had a magazine that I don't remember the name of the magazine, but it was some magazine I had, and I just loved looking through the magazine. It was my favorite thing. And then I would go to the library and get a bunch of books about farming. Anything I could get my hands on. Like it was some sort of like a farmer's story where it talked about him, how he started his dairy farm, and how he, lost money, and how he lost his love for his family, but he gained it with a farm. I don't remember the name of the story, but I love that. So then I just started wanting to be a farmer. But it's hard being a farmer and finding, property and land. Now, this is the market. Now, back in the day, it was easier to buy land and property than it is now. Property is absolutely insane where I live now. It's so expensive that you're lucky to get, 10 acres for, what you could have got for 50 acres back in the day, or maybe 100 acres. It also depends on if it's residential or commercial or if it's farm. Because it's where I live, it's got to be, it's agricultural. So if it's agriculture and you buy it, you have to have a permit in order to build on it. So, but it was easier back in the day to actually acquire land, but it was not possible for me to, because I just didn't have, enough knowledge and enough, to just go and start farming. That was not even possible with 2 little kids. That is hard, let alone taking care of a house, and 2 kids, than to have a farm of your own by yourself, tending to it. That would have been the hardest thing. So I was like trying to find some game, and I don't even know how I asked my brother, "Hey, bro, do you know if there's any farm games?" And my brother's like, "Oh yeah, there is a farm game that's coming out this time this year." So I was like, "Really? There's a farming game?" So I Googled it. I think I Googled it, and then a video came up on Farming Simulator. Oh, we're at another one. Liquid Speed. Nice. So, as I'm talking here, there's like ants going up my arm. And I don't know where I got ants, because I have traps, but I don't know why I got ants everywhere. So, like I said, I Googled it, and a video came up on YouTube, and it was Farming Simulator 13. And it just, I saw a trailer of it. It was awesome. I was like, oh my gosh, I went crazy for it. And then I came across a YouTuber, that, let's say, I think it was a little, so I knew that Farming Simulator 13 was coming out. I watched a trailer, and then I waited a few months until it came out, and then I started watching, and then I was like, well, I want to see what it's like before I invest in, like, a computer and the game. So, I think it was only a week that it was out, I started watching my favorite YouTuber of all time. I haven't found one like him that has, like, just such a happy personality. Everybody has a different personality, and he came across as just happy, never had, just was a happy person. His name was Ian Robinson, and I spent a lot of time watching his videos. But going back in time, back then, after watching his first video of where he was showing a map and, looking around at the map, I'm like, I gotta buy it. So I invested in my first computer, which is one of those you put a disc in. I went on, I think it was on Amazon, and I was actually going to buy that game on Amazon. I was just going to order it, because that was like the only place you could order Amazon, and I think that you could get it through a couple other places. There was like a gaming store. I think there was a couple other places. But then, you know what? I just couldn't decide where I was going to buy it. So actually, I went on eBay, and I didn't sell a lot of stuff on eBay. I bought a few things on eBay, not a lot of stuff. I'd buy different things on eBay. I went on there, and I saw a person that had just listed Farming Simulator 13. And in his comment, he says, like new, this person who must have ordered it or bought it somewhere says, I thought he would like the game. I played it for a day. It's just not for me. And I bought it at half the price. I don't even know how much it was. It wasn't very expensive. I bought it for half the price that you could get. Oh, I'm jumping up and down in the game. Bought it for half the price, and I was so happy. And I played many hours on that game. Hundreds of hours. Hundreds of hours. And I owe so many YouTubers gratitude and thankfulness for the entertainment they gave me through the years. I would play Farm Sim 13, and I would watch my favorite YouTuber playing on a map, and I'd want to just play along with the person because so I'd be sitting watching him and then playing along, and I couldn't even I'd be like, nope, I can't play the rest of this map until he starts, Just those good old days when my kids were little and you really didn't have a lot of, things were cheaper. Things were not like they are now. Like, inflation is so bad right now that it's hard for anybody to even afford anything anymore. And that or worries of, people not be able to pay the bills. Back in the day, you didn't have that. Back in the day, I would get up and get my coffee before I'd work from home, and I'd just sit and watch him, and then I'd play, and I miss that time. I do. I miss it, y'all. Let's get in here and let's go on. Okay, I'm gonna go out of here so we can see a little bit more. So we got it looks like we have some wind farms over here. So as the years went by, Farming 15 came along, and then Farming 17, Farming 19, Farming 22, and then now we're at Farming 25. Where did the time go, y'all? Where did the time go? Where did all that time when I first started Farm Simulator? I've been playing Farm Simulator for over a decade. How did that even happen? I mean, the first day that... I want to get in there. I want to get in here. Come on, let me... The first day I played Farm Simulator seemed like yesterday, It seemed like I would wake up, watch my favorite YouTuber. It doesn't seem possible, y'all. It doesn't seem possible that my grandma's gone. It doesn't seem like the years just flown by, but it has. There was a year when I don't know what year it was. I think it was 2021 or 2022. It was some year, I think, when COVID, I don't know if it was the starting of COVID or my daughter, her and I, she was always asking to go for walks. That was the year that my kids and we would walk, and they would go on their scooters, and I'd scoot them down the walkway across the parks and across different areas. I mean, we walked for miles. I mean, I think that we probably walked, hundreds of miles over the summer. We walked so much, always begging to go on a walk. That was the good old days. I can still remember We would see deer. We would see rabbits. Jumping spiders. They would be like on the there was like this walkway to this park, and there's jumping spiders, which just like jumping off the fenced walkway. And my daughter would go, "Let's go jumping spider collecting. Let's go look for spiders." We'd go and look, just wildlife, and she was all into bugs. And then fast forward to now, I can't even get her to go outside. I can't even get her to go on a walk. She's so crabby. A teen being crabby, I think that's pretty normal. But I can't believe that time's gone too. I can't believe. I remember when I first moved into my house, and I was so excited. And oh my gosh, I have tons of things to do outside, and got land and all this stuff. And the work just, like now, the work just, back in the day, it was such a joy to just go outside and now it's like I'm so busy that it's hard to even get things done around the house, like the basic things. But back in the day, I had plenty of time over the summer, and I'd enjoy the summers with my kids. And this year, it seemed like spring has just flown by. It's almost over with. Summer's almost here. My kids have 4 days left, 5 days left to school. And, and then thinking about my son, he's almost 18. Where did, ants are like biting me. Why is there an ant on me? Going back in time just seems such a joy, Oh, I better go on. Look at the mountains over there. And we're only going to talk about 2 more things, y'all. And then I will call this an episode of Coffee with Brooke. It's not really, I guess it would be it's going down memory lane, but it's also remembering things that are no longer here, I think that's the end of the map. Yep, I think that's the end of the map. I'll go back this way. But, and then there was a time, and I don't even know when, my kids and we'd go down to, I think this is the same time we went walking, but there was, down, don't live too far from a gas station. I think it's 2 or 3 miles from my house. And, being rural, having a gas station out into nowhere is kind of cool, because you can go out there and you can, just walk, and then you can, there's a gas station. We'd go there and we'd get Choco Tacos. Oh my gosh, the first time they had their first ice cream at the gas station was something they really loved to do, not to have, and they were $1.50 back in the day, now they're $4 for ice cream. And then, they were like, I want the Choco Taco. They'd always get the Choco Taco every single time. And now the Choco Taco's gone. The Choco Taco's not there anymore. When why did they take that away? Why can we still have that? Times do change, and I don't want them to. I want them to stay the same. I want the good old days where, you didn't have to worry about anything. You didn't have people fighting over stuff. I've seen TikTok videos of people fighting over Poke cards. Why are people fighting over Pokemon cards? Why can't people just be nice and get a few Poke cards? Why do people have to smash each other's face in over? I seen that TikTok where 2 guys were smacking, definitely smashing each other's faces because they wanted each other's these Poke set cards, these packs. When is that behavior, when has that behavior become the norm, Back in the day, the police would arrest them and put them into jail. But now you just see them just doing it, not even getting in trouble for it. And then I go on Facebook. I don't ever really go on Facebook. I only go on Facebook to, if I have some furniture to sell or just something to sell on Marketplace, just to get rid of the item, basically. It's only the really local place you can try Craigslist, but Craigslist is super scary. But you can just put it on there and put free and it'd be gone. You wouldn't have to worry about, but I go on there and I was scrolling through some posts and I saw this on this local group. I only go on there for like if there's news or something. Sometimes I go on there to maybe find a restaurant I want to go out to eat local or something new that I could do with the kids for summer, like an event or something. I go on there and I saw this lady and she's asking for help. Apparently she was on the highway and her car broke down. Her tire blew. So she was asking somebody if they could help her with her to put on her spare tire. She doesn't know how to do it. She's an older lady and she just needed help. I was astonished. Instead of just being nice, they were all bashing her for her looks. Just, be like, why would you wear that outside? Why would you wear a tube top? Back in the day, I think I was really young. My grandma wore tube tops. It was something they wore, and and people didn't make fun of them, but apparently this older lady just wasn't the right shape, and so all these guys were making fun of her, being that she was probably in her 80s wearing a tube top. Who cares? Just help the lady. Why isn't there good Samaritans helping people anymore? Why? I just had to get a little bit of my coffee. But that being said, I couldn't believe it. My mind just went back to, wow, there was always people helping people, and now it's really shameful. I just don't even want to go back on there, to be honest with y'all. Oh man, I can't even imagine, bigger cities and how much that happens, how people get, worked up or don't help people anymore. Why aren't we neighborly? Why aren't we nice anymore? Why are we all mad at everybody and mad at everything? And going back to the fact, got a phone call this morning. A family member, oops, I think that's the end of the map. Oops, Denbrook gets stuck in a tree. Story of my life. That a family member is dying. And I bet that family member would love to have another year with his wife. If I could go back, y'all, there would be a lot of things I would be doing different. I would be changing not everything, but I'd be doing a lot of different things, helping people more. I helped a lot of people back in the day, and I think I could have done more. I think I could have been more outgoing instead of being shy and not wanting shy about, oh, I can't. I just want to cry. I know this is like a really sad video, but I couldn't, I can't help it. I just want to go back in time and remember a few things and just, that being said, there's one more subject that I want to touch on. So, down the road where my house is, it's not too far from my house, in a rural part of the country, on this rural road, this road out of nowhere that doesn't get very much traffic, I noticed something they were putting up. And it's pretty near my house. It's not right next to my house, but it's pretty near, and it's out in the boonies, the country. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was like a light post. And I was like, what is that? They're putting it up. And then I'm like, I don't know what this is. So Brooke took a picture of it. And Brooke used Google. Now, back in the day, Google wasn't, AI, all this stuff. Anything. If you do a Google image and you don't know what a tree is, you'll find out what the tree is within minutes. It said on Google it was a flat camera. What is a flat camera? I said. I've never heard of it. Looked it up. Apparently, it's a camera that can take pictures of license plates. Not only that, it can also take pictures of people, faces. It can recognize your face and send it. And apparently the organization that's putting up this is a private organization. And so, and it looks like it's got a speaker on it too. So can it hear my conversations? I just basically Googled it and found out that they put those up in areas where there's a lot of traffic and can actually take down, like if there's some car that's speeding, they can take down their license, or if, let's say, a police officer is looking for a certain car, they can look back and they can look all this stuff without having a warrant or anything. But here's a fact. This is not on a busy highway. This is not in the middle of the city. This is in the middle of the country where very little traffic goes through. Why would they need a flat camera? Now I feel like I'm being watched. I feel like they're going to see me go back and forth. Now, you probably say it's innocent, and probably it wouldn't bother you, but it bothers me. It bothers me that I wasn't told that this was being put up in my neighborhood, on the side of the road. And why is it there? I don't know. Thinking about that, going on to the other side of the road, there's a walkway. So they're able to see people walking every day. Now, that just, I don't know. Invasion in the privacy nowadays, there really isn't any privacy. I mean, wow. I just had to tell you guys about that. They got no notice, and they're just putting it up. How does this company have the authority to do this? And it's not like it's a police agency or anything putting that up. No, it's a private organization. Look it up. It's scary. I saw a couple of videos, and they can recognize your face. They can, I don't know if they can listen to your conversation, but they definitely can see your AI your face and make like a profile of you. That being said, wow, the times when we were talking about the 90s of the dial-up phone, the dial-up computer to the dial-up phone. I didn't talk about the dial-up phone, but that was another one Grandma had. That was to the Game Boy, to now we're getting into the first farm game I ever knew. There was actually 2 other farm games. A farm game, there was Farm Sim 2008, and then there was Farm Sim 2011, which I have Farm Sim 11, but I don't have Farm Sim 2008. But that being said, y'all, I just wanted to come on here and just talk a little bit. And this morning it changed everything. we wake up in the morning. It's a normal day for us, but it's not a normal day for somebody else who's losing a family member. You know, so young, 70s, early 70s, y'all. And he wasn't in. I mean, he wasn't. I mean, he was in. I mean, he was in pain for a while. I guess being in pain and suffering is hard to. That being said, y'all, thank you for joining me today, and just keeping me in your prayers, and tell me your favorite memories back in the day. If you remember the Game Boy, if you even remember AOL, if you remember PlayStation. I think it was like PlayStation 1 back then. Maybe it was Sega. So, thank you so very much, y'all. My first game was the Game Boy. I have to say, that was my favorite game. That being said, I'm going to climb on top of this. Am I on? I think it feels. Why does it feel like I'm like right on top of it? Like on top. Nope. Look at there's. It's even higher, but it feels like I'm so tall. That being said, I will be calling this an episode. Thank you for joining me today on Coffee with Brooke. Going down kind of memory lane and talking about sad moments. So I'll be seeing you. Please like and subscribe. I would love for you to join the family. As always, I'm Brooke.